With the new anime film, The War for the Rohirrim, opening tomorrow in theaters, I think what better way to celebrate the release of this than by giving you a back-to-back review. I was going to do these separately, but I changed my mind. I'm going to give you a back-to-back review of the original animated films of The Lord of the Rings and The Return of the King. Big days! Entertainment rankings and reviews. Back-to-back reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Joel, better known to you as the Big D, and I'm back with a back-to-back review vid. And today we're going to be going to Middle Earth for a back-to-back review of some animated films based on the popular book series by J.R. Tolkien. And let me tell you, I just finished watching these for the first time ever because I can't seem to recall ever seeing these before. Just clips of maybe one of them, but that's it. But anyway, with its new film, which is an anime style prequel film, which is coming out tomorrow in theaters, I decided to come back to the world of Middle Earth and do the Lord of the Rings again, but this time it's original animated form. So let us start this back-to-back reviews vid. First off, I'm going to do the original animated film version of The Lord of the Rings, originally released by United Artists for Fantasy Films, produced by Saul Zanes, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, Film Productions. Directed by Ralph Bakshi, and a screenplay written by Chris Conklin and Peter S. Beagle, is based on the novel done by J.R.R. Tolkien, adapting from the volumes The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers. It's set in Middle Earth, of course, and follows a group of fantasy races hobbits, men, an elf, a dwarf, and a wizard who form a fellowship to destroy a magical ring made by the Dark Lord Sauron, the main antagonist. The film was released on November 15th, 1978 in the US, and then over a half a year later in July of the following year in the UK. Now then, this film is notable for its extensive use of rotoscoping, a technique in which scenes are first shot in live action, then traced onto animation cells. It uses a hybrid of traditional cell animation and rotoscoped live action footage, which let me tell you, that's really something. I tell you what. And actually, this would be Bakshi's second non-mature anime film after Wizards, which came out the previous year, and I have yet to review that film. I haven't even seen that film in a long time. Well, I'll only give you a little bit of the story since I've already reviewed the Lord of the Rings live action films, and you know how this goes. Early in the Second Age of Middle Earth, elven smiths forged 9 rings of power for mortal men, 7 for the dwarf lords, and 3 for the elf kings. Soon after, the Dark Lord Sauron makes the One Ring and uses it to attempt to conquer Middle Earth. After defeating Sauron, Prince Isildur takes the ring, but after he is eventually killed by orcs, the ring lies at the bottom of the river Anduin for over 2,500 years. Over time, Sauron captures the 9 rings and transforms their owners into the ring wraiths. The One Ring is discovered by Daegol, whose kinsman Smeagol kills him and takes the ring for himself, and the ring twists his body and mind and thus becomes the creature known as Gollum, who takes it with him into the Misty Mountains. Hundreds of years later, Bilbo Baggins finds the ring in Gollum's cave and brings it back with him to the Shire. Decades later, during his birthday celebration, the wizard Gandalf tells him to leave the ring for his nephew Frodo. He right well, but Bilbo reluctantly agrees and departs for Rivendell. 17 years pass, during which Gandalf learns that evil forces have discovered the ring is in the possession of Baggins. Gandalf meets Frodo to explain the ring's history and the danger it possesses, and Frodo leaves his home taking the ring with him. He's accompanied by three hobbits, his cousins, Pippin, Merry, and his gardener, Sam. And, well, I'd say you know the rest. But I'm not going to give the whole story away because I don't think much people's gonna has actually even talked about this film and what have you. Yeah. Anyway, upon the film's release, it got mixed reviews from critics and hostility from disappointed viewers who felt that it was incomplete. But nevertheless, it was a success though, making 32 million against its $4 million budget. And the film has, however, retained a cult following and was a major inspiration for Peter Jackson, who of course would later do the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit trilogies later on. So anyway, and not only that, viewers were disappointed and felt that the film was incomplete. And it was originally intended to be distributed as The Lord of the Rings Part 1. Initially, a trilogy was planned, but this was revised to two planned films because of the limited budget. Yes. Although United Artists found that the film was, while financially successful, failed to overwhelm audiences, Bakshi began working on a sequel and even had some B-roll footage shot. The film book of the J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, which was published just a few months after this was released in October 78, still referred to the sequel in the book's inside cover jacket. Indeed, in interviews back, she talked about doing a part two film, picking up where this leaves off, and even boasted that the second film could pick up on sequences that we missed in the first book. Well, producer Saul Sands went so far to try to stop the Return to King TV special, which was already storyboarded before Bakshi's film came out, from airing, so as to not clash with Bakshi's sequel. Even though the spy was aware of the Hobbit TV special, which actually aired the previous year on NBC, well, apparently, Maxie angrily commented that The Lord of the Rings is not going to have any song for the sake of a record album. During the lawsuit, he commented that they're not going to stop us from doing this, and they won't stop us from doing The Hobbit. Anyone who saw their version of The Hobbit know it has nothing to do with the quality and style of our feature. My life isn't going to be altered by what Rankin Bass chooses to do badly. Years later, he called their film an awful rip-off version of The Hobbit. But my thoughts on The Lord of the Rings, well, I can't seem to recall ever seen this, not even when I was young, if it was shown on movie channels and what have you. But after watching this, I'm going to say it's not too bad. Not really one of the best takes of Lord of the Rings, but still, it proved to be epic and what have you. Now then, the film sits at 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, saying Ralph Bakshi's valiant attempt at rendering Tolkien's magnum opus in rotoscope never lives up to the grandeur of its source material, with a compressed writing time that flattens the sweeping story and experimental animation that is more bizarre than magical. That's true and what have you, yes. Story can be a bit mixed though, but I will say, yeah, and the time's running time is over 2 hours, even though that's still factual enough. But that was making it one of the longest running animated films ever. Yes. But yeah, it could just use a tiny bit of trimming and they could have still kept the story true and what have you. But even so, I completely do understand and what have you. However, in other reviews, the Hollywood Reporter wrote that the film was daring and unusual in concept, and Newsday wrote that the film's principal reward is a visual experience unlike anything that other anime features are doing at the moment. Roger Ebert called Bakshi's effort a mixed blessing and an entirely respectable, occasionally impressive job, which still falls far short of the charm and sweep of the original story. Yes, yes, I do agree on that. But of the whole, I did find the film to be pretty epic and exciting. Leonard Rosenman did the score for the film, which was pretty good. We have a pretty good cast here. We have Christopher Guard voicing Frodo, William Squire as Gandalf, Michael Scholes as Sam, John Hurt as Aragorn, Simon Chandler as Merry, Dominic Guard as Pippin, Norman Bird as Bilbo, Pierre Woodthorpe as Gollum. Yeah, and there's a whole host of others and what have you. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna say the cast isn't too bad. But anyway, if you really want to see something really exciting about the anime Lord of the Rings, I think it's worth looking into. The film's currently available on physical media, and yeah, I think you can get it for a reasonable price. I'm pretty sure you can. So if so, then you might want to check out there. It just came to Max for streaming, so you can check out there. But you be the judge. The Lord of the Rings film, it's not too bad. I think I would recommend you give it a one-time watch. Now let's talk about a film that, well, just kind of, well, I think you know what I'm about to say. Here it is. Alright, next I'm going to talk about The Return of the King, a 1980 American Japanese animated musical fantasy television film originally created by Rankin Bass and Topcraft. Now, although it's known on the screen as The Return of the King, a story of the Hobbits, it takes the name from the Return of the King book, the third and final volume of the Lord of the Rings series, and is a sequel to The Hobbit from 1977, but I have yet to review that, so I humbly apologize. I just thought I'd get these out of the way. Now, this special originally premiered on ABC and not NBC, who aired its predecessor. It premiered on May 11th, 1980. While this did get a lukewarm welcome than the Lord of the Rings theatrical film Ralph Bakshi produced, well, I think you know the rest of the story as I've already said. Gandalf briefly narrates the background, and then at Bilbo Baggins' 129th birthday party in Rivendell, his nephew Frodo explains why he is missing a finger from his hand while the minstrel of Gondor sings a ballad that tells the story of the quest to destroy the One Ring and defeat the Dark Lord Sauron. And in Mordor, a friend of Frodo and his companion Samwise Gamgee bears the ring in Frodo's absence as he ventures to rescue him from the orc fortress of Cirith Ungol. During his journey, Sam is tempted to claim the ring for himself, but ultimately resists its power. He rescues Frodo, and the two hobbits head out for Mount Doom to destroy the ring. Meanwhile, Gandalf the White and the hobbit Pippin arrive at Minas Tirith to warn Denethor, the steward of Gondor, about the upcoming war, only to discover that the steward has gone insane and means to take his own life. So anyway, now that's all I really want to tell you because I don't want to get into more of this story. Because from what I saw of this film, I'm going to say It's not too bad. I thought it was pretty good. I know this isn't what back she would have wanted though, but I really would have loved to see what back she could have done with Return the King, to be honest. The film special has a 67% average on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I did get mixed reviews though. Common Sense Media called this it's a cartoon tale is darker, more complex than others in series. Decent Films Guide said it works even less well than The Hobbit, which really is a children's story. Overbearing folk ballad soundtrack doesn't even gesture lyrically to Tolkien's poetry. Excuse me. The film's director, well, co-director Arthur Rankin Jr., one of the founders of Rankin Bass, later say we tried to do Return the King, but it is an awful lot to put into it. I think Peter Jackson is having the same problem in his films. You can't deviate from these books, or somebody will wait on the street for you. In this, we had to summarize what had happened before and then put it all together in 2 hours. It's not a very good film. Asked why he chose only to make this instead of making the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, he admitted, I didn't know what that the audience would sit still for it. I was wrong. Well, that's understandable. Anyway, now the, the film's score was composed by Maury Laws along with Bernard Hoffer, who would later go on to work on other Rankin Bass shows, including Thundercats and Silverhawks. I am gonna say it is pretty colorful and what have you, and I don't mind some of the music and what have you, including the ballad we hear at the beginning of the film, or even the epic theme song, "The Return of the King." Anyway, but anyway, let's see. Now, now, of course, two of the voice actors from the Hobbit film returned, including Orson Bean, who once again voiced Bilbo, and John Huston as the voice of Gandalf. Orson Bean also provided Frodo's voice. Others include William Conrad, the voice of the Nether. Of course, you may remember William Conrad as the star of TV's Canon, and well, right about the same year this came out, he would voice the Lone Ranger in Filmation's Lone Ranger cartoon. And he was also the announcer for the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoon as well. And he did lots of other stuff. Paul Frees, who was certainly no stranger to working with Rankin Bass and other studios, voiced characters like Elrond and Orc and others. Casey Kasem, this being I I don't know if he did any others, but this is the second time I've seen him do his name in a Rankin Bass special or movie after he recently did the titular character in their holiday special Here Comes Peter Cottontail, voices the character of Mary. Ryan McDowell, also not much of a stranger, he had recently voiced, well, the, the titular character in their holiday special Cricket on the Hearth, voiced Sam. Sonny Melendez voiced Pippin. Don Misick, another great voice actor, rest in peace, voiced the mouth of Sauron and others. John Stevenson, another big voice actor, Lord of the Nazgul was one of his voices. Glenn Yarborough voiced the minstrel. Brother Theodore, although credited as Theodore, voiced Gollum. And the character Yowen was voiced by Nellie Bellflower, who that same year would voice Princess Ariel in Ruby Spears' Thundarr the Barbarian, which would debut on the same network, which was ABC that same year. So the Return of the King animated film, well, it's good and colorful in ways. While it may not come close to be as dark like the like Bakshi's Lord of the Rings film, but still, I found the film to be a little bit entertaining in some ways. But really, you'll have to take my word for it. But I do think this film had a lot to offer. Great characters, a pretty decent take of the story, which I'd say not the best, but decent, and a good score and what have you. Oh yeah, and Romeo Muller, who also was at Rankin Bass, also wrote the story. So again, it was decent enough. So I am gonna say you can get this for a reasonable price on physical media. I'm pretty sure you can. But if not, just stream it. It is available on numerous sites and it just came to Max, so you might be able to look for it on there. So that's about it. I also would recommend you give this a one-time watch as well. So that's going to do it for this back-to-back review. What did you think of The Lord of the Rings from 1978 and The Return of the King from 1980? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel. Make it grow and make the views grow. Tell all your friends about my channel. Get them to know me. Maybe they'd like to be a part of my Big D Nation. Share my videos with your friends if you like. And I also want to say I'm only 14 subscribers away from hitting 800 subscribers, so keep it up, everyone. Join me next time when I review the film Vice Versa. So if you like this, consider checking out my reviews of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. I've decided to give you the vids separately. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of the Fellowship of the Ring from 2001. The upper right hand corner is my review of The Two Towers from 2002. And the bottom left hand corner is my review of the mega hit award winning The Return of the King from 2003. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. And one of these days, mind you, I will review The Hobbit film, okay? Promise. So until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.